Welcome folks, one and all, to Let's Play Mount & Blade Warband, made for the PC. This is a open world, sandboxy kind of, well, war simulator on small scale, where you take on the role of a brave knight, heading into the dangerous lands of Calradia. And in this place, you must either align with one of the other powers, and slowly claim land and prosperity, or you can strike it out on your own and attempt to forge your own kingdom. And with this kingdom, you can crush all that oppose you, or you can bumble around foolishly and die horribly, which is probably exactly what I'm going to do. This specifically is going to be an interesting one, because I'm not going to be siding with any of the other factions. I'm going it alone. But even worse than that, I'm going it alone with some special conditions. I'm effectively only being a bandit. I'm not going to be hiring on any people from villages at all, and I'm only going to be taking people that I take from battle myself, or characters that you meet in taverns. I'm going to take them along, but otherwise it's just going to be the people I can either, well, basically clout on the head with a sharp stick and tell them to come along with me. My ultimate objective is to take over, hopefully, a castle of my own and declare my own fledgling kingdom, which will inevitably crumble immediately. But that's not going to happen, is it? So let us instead look at the options. I leave things pretty simple. There's generally not much I do. I pretty much leave things as they are, because it's the funnest way to do it. And graphics are as they are. And let's go! Start a new game. Now, game is launching. Welcome, adventurer, to Mount & Blade Warband. Before beginning the game, you must create your character. Remember that in the traditional medieval society depicted in the game, war and politics are usually dominated by male members of the nobility. This does not, however, mean that you should not choose to play a female character, or one who is not of noble birth. Male nobles may have a somewhat easier start, but women and commoners can attain all the same goals, and in fact may have a much more interesting, if more challenging, early game. Yes, the original Mount & Blade did not allow you to play a woman. They added that into the sequel, but it is, well, technical sequel, but it is harder to play as a woman. You need more nobility, more fame, before you can actually gain recognition, and it is more challenging, but it is very satisfying. However, my character is going to be a male, because we're making Spunty. You were born years ago in a land far away. Your father was a veteran warrior. As a child, your father scrabbled out a meager living from your father. Let me start again. Are you sitting comfortably? Then Kikoskia won't garble it. As a child, your family scrabbled out a meager living from your father's wages as a guardsman to the local lord. It was not an easy existence, and you were too poor to get much of an education. You learned mainly how to defend yourself on the streets, with or without a weapon in hand. You started to learn about the world almost as soon as you could walk and talk. You spent your early life as Let's pick something interesting. A street urchin. No. A page at a nobleman's court. As a boy growing out of childhood, you were sent to live in the court of one of the nobles of the land. There, your first lessons were in humility, as you waited upon the lords and ladies of the household. But from their chess games, their gossip, even the poetry of great deeds and courtly love, you quickly began to learn about the adult world of conflict and competition. You also learned from the rough games of the other children, who battered at each other with sticks in imitation of their elder swords. Then, as a young adult, life changed as it always does. You became a squire. Though a distinction felt sudden to you, somewhere along the way you had become a man, and the whole world seemed to change around you. When you were named squire to a noble at court, you practiced long hours with weapons, learning how to deal out hard knocks and how to take them too. You were instructed in your obligations to your lord, and of your duties to those who might one day be your vassals. But in addition to learning the chivalric ideal, you also learned about the less uplifting side, old warrior stories of useless power politics, of betrayals and usurpations, of men who used guile as well as valor to achieve their arms. But soon everything changed, and you decided to strike out on your own as an adventurer, as you do. What made you take this decision was this has absolutely no bearing on anything. being forced out of your home. Only you know exactly what caused you to give up your old life and become an adventurer. However, you know that you cannot go back. There's nothing to go back to. Whatever home you may have had is gone now, and you must face the fact that you're out in the wide, wide world, alone to sink or swim. I want to allow me to quit without saving, because otherwise things can happen that are bad. So, I need a name. Spunty Magoo. Good old Spunty Magoo. So, I have 10 strength, which adds +1 to my hit points and means that I can do all the strengthy stuff. Agility 7, Charisma 8, and Intelligence 5, and Charisma 8. I'm going to dump a point into that, and a point into Intelligence, and while we're here, 1 point into Strength, and 1 point into Agility. Now what skills would I like? I'm going to need Leadership. It's already max, so I can't do anything with that. Prisoner Management is a skill I am definitely going to need. At least 1 point? Possibly 2. I need a lot of Iron Flesh, and I need a fair bit of... looting is a decent skill. Iron Flesh gives me additional hit points. Prisoner Management means I can actually take prisoners with me. Trust me, trying to do this without actually having the ability to take prisoners, pretty bad. I'm going to need a shield skill. Riding, I have max in. Athletic increases my running speed. Pathfinding means we go faster. That's actually quite useful. And... No. I think I need pathfinding, and I need a point and shield. And as for weapon skills, they're pretty good. One-handed and two-handed weapons are pretty good. But I'm probably going to be using a fair amount of one-handed and two-handed weapons. These skills go up as you level, so the more you use a weapon, the better you are with it. But now we have to adjust our amazingly beautiful character. Yes. What we're going to do is we're going to randomize until I can find someone who looks old enough. Because Spunty is old. Let us change the man's beard. There is a really long beard. There, that's pretty long. That's very long. There we go. Let's have some... There we go! He almost looks like YOLO, actually. Make him old. And change his hair colour so that he's very old looking. Here we go. That's very old. Well, I decided to go adventuring, and yes, actually, this is pretty perfect. Like this. Yep, we're gonna go with this guy. Hello, I'm Spunty. Excellent. Yes. Why am I out adventuring? Why? You hear about Calradia, a land torn between rival kingdoms battling each other for supremacy, a haven for knights and mercenaries, cutthroats and adventurers, all willing to risk their lives in pursuit of fortune, power or glory. In this land which holds great dangers and even greater opportunities, you believe you may feel your past behind. You may leave your past behind and start a new life. You feel that finally you hold the key to your destiny in your hands, free to choose as you will, and that whatever course you take, great adventures will await you. Game saying you're gonna have fun. Have fun, everyone! Drawn by the stories you hear about Calradia and its kingdom, you join the caravan to Praven in the kingdom of Swadia. Oh, Swadia, you got screwed over in the first game because of your placement on the map, and you get screwed over again. You came by caravan through the heartland of Calradia. Green shoots of wheat, barley, and oats are beginning to push through the dark soil of the rolling hills? Ugh. And on the lower slopes of the snow-capped mountains, herds of cattle and sheep are grazing on the spring grass. Occasionally, too, you catch the sight of one of the great war horses that are the pride of the Swadian nobility. Hint, they have some of the best cavalry in the game. The land here is rich, but also troubled, as the occasional burnt-out farm bears witness. You keep a wide berth of the forests where the desperate men have taken refuge. It is some relief when you crest the ridge and catch sight of the great port of Praven, its rooftops made of golden by the last rays of the setting sun. You're exhausted by the time you find the inn in Praven and quickly fall asleep. However, you awake before dawn and are eager to explore your surroundings. Foolish! You venture out into the streets, which are still deserted. All of a sudden, you hear the sound that stands the hairs of your neck on end, the rasp of a blade sliding from its scabbard. And just like that, we are in combat, and the game has given me a crossbow. There's only one guy. I have a shield. It's not a good one. I'm using my direction keys to dictate which way I strike. By holding a direction key, hello! Oh! What am I doing? Oh. Yes, scrolling up changes your weapon. Scrolling down changes your shield. And unfortunately, I messed that up already. The first combat of the game is brutal, short, and Spunty is terrified. What am I doing here? Oh god, I killed this man. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go hand myself into the guard now. But fortunately, there is a man here who comes to help us. This noble, well, merchant. Are you alright? Well, I guess you're alive at any rate. I'm not sure what we can say the same for the other fellow. That's one less thief to trouble our streets at night. Although, heaven knows he won't be the last. Anyway, maybe you can help me with something. Let's talk more inside. Out here, we don't know who's listening. The merchant takes you to his house. Once inside, he stands by the door for a while, checking the street, and then finally convinced that you have not been followed, comes near you to speak. By comes near, I mean he doesn't come near at all. This is the tutorial man. He'll teach you the basics of rounding a force up and doing missions, but you know what? I don't want to help you. Now, let me explain my proposition. Blah, 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 brigands, blah, 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 death, war, love, blah, 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 camps in the wild and venturing into town, blah, 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 commander tells us fighting in the frontiers, blah, 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 something bad happened, took my brother, blah, 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 how did it happen, blah, 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 he's a bit stupid, blah, 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 he goes around at night and gets whizzed on booze and then gets kidnapped. Blah, 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 blah. People think I can't protect my investments and thus I'll get poor. Blah, 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 blah. Ransom, I don't want to pay it. I'm not going to free my brother with money. Well, here's my proposition. You look like you've had a bit of experience with a blade. You mean I've killed one person? I'm a murderer! And more importantly, you must have a bit of fire in your belly, or you wouldn't be coming to Calradia to seek your fortune. I had nowhere else to go. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Gather a small party, track down these bandits to their lair, teach them a lesson they won't forget, and get my brother back safe. In return, you'll earn my lasting gratitude and a bit of silver. What do you say? I'm sorry, I must go. Goodbye. Where's the exit? I can leave now. Good. Goodbye. So, Spunty Magoo, when given the MacGuffin of quest, went... No, not really, not interested. So, when we come back, folks, we shall start the adventure proper. Spunty Magoo is on the go, and he means business. Look at that. This is Calradia. Now, Praven has the misfortune of being in Swadia. Swadia are your more typical medieval people. More generic, with their really great cavalry. Like, their Swadian cavalry is Swadian men-at-arms and the Swadian cavalry are brilliant. Heavily armoured, really good horses, really good weapons, heckly expensive to maintain, and the fact that they are little jutting out people in the middle of everything pretty much means they get their butts handed to them. I think I was the Vegas in the my actual last playthrough, and I stole bits of Swadia everywhere. They were reduced to maybe like here. So anyway, when we come back, the banditry begins in earnest, and trust me, we're not going to do very well. See you then.